the time I wondered what the point of my life was. I now realized I was born as a ugly, repulsive, big-nosed, Dravidian curry cell just to show that the quintessence of our lives, which is just to propagate our genes endlessly, just waste time, just to focus on the biological imperative, and that we've built an entire facade, entire culture, entire romanticization of, well, love, right? When you get blackpilled, you realize that love isn't what it seems. It isn't what was portrayed in all various forms of media that has been, here since the start of time. It is ultimately di- dictated by your genetics, dictated by your environment. So this huge, I guess, fascination with love and it's just being has been common throughout, you know, the entire human history, right? So when you realize that such a thing is dictated by your genetics, right? Then that really goes to show how just depressing life is, because it's just this entire thing you've been told from birth that is, the greatest thing ever is just the result of your genetics, the result of your luck, and that it really isn't anything apart from just women and men choosing the best genes possible to propagate into their offspring, right? That's basically the entire gist of it. There isn't anything else to it. There's no depth to it. It's all superficial. It's all shallow. Okay, real love, in my opinion, is a woman's love to a man of superior genetic quality. That's literally it. And to be honest, I struggled with this fact, and I didn't know how to cope with it. Realized that to cope with it, people usually use irrational sort of beliefs, because consciousness, some things in consciousness are just not good to think about, contemplate, right? You don't want to contemplate that you're going to die eventually. I mean, this fact is basically a big fear, right? The fear of unknown, fear of death, and the fact that your life is deterministic. It's all genetics. That's really all it is. And when this fact is sort of articulated in a very just say objective way, people tend to get very, very upset. That's why you see a huge backlash against people like me, or just anyone in general who talks about the truth about romantic affairs and the truth about society right now, which is that hypergamy, all these things leave a big subset of men basically lonely and without any romantic relationships. And with this, you realize that it's all determined by genetics, that it's so unfair that the thing that you've been told since birth is, you know, is just utterly imperative to your life. And it's in our biology, I guess, right? It's also something that's always been just ingrained in every living being's mind, right? So when you have this thing that is totally unattainable, when it's totally unattainable to me, right, and totally unattainable to other incels, and because of our looks, right? So when you have this knowledge, you realize that just how unfair this is, right? You just realize how unfair life is. From there, you sort of realize that life as a whole is just a set of misery, just a depressing ordeal. When you take anyone through all the just affairs, the disgusting side of human nature, right? All the torture, all the wars, all the suffering. And if you were just beheaded or like tortured or just stabbed to death or some shit like that, then you would fucking probably have a pretty depressed look on life. It's just that some people who have, I guess, distractions to keep them at bay just tend to forget this fact. Anyway, that was just my pointless rambles. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this shitty ass video.